Yeah, that's my Steve Garvey story right there. Welcome to Fridays on the Fly. I'm Eric.
And I'm Ward. This is episode 5. In our podcast, we talk about creative people and creative projects. Follow our own adventures with personal and community projects, including short films, writing, props, radio drama performance, movie reviews, and plenty of tangents. First things first, not that I need another project, but I saw one that would hopefully be quick, whereas all the ones I do take forever. This one is a terrarium, which should be really simple. You take a jar, you put some grass in it, you've got a terrarium.
Why are you building a terrarium?
I just like terrariums.
I just want to put a brief interruption in this. Someone has sent me a friend request on Facebook. This has happened about 5 times now. No idea who we are. It's a completely fake Facebook page, but I keep getting requests from people. Completely unrelated topic. Sorry.
Arts are a big deal. We're like, oh, arts. I want to appear artsy. I'm going to friend them.
I had someone message me saying, who is this? Now, this is someone I knew. I don't want to say anything because I haven't said anything to anybody. I don't know if you have. So I say, it's Rockingham County, We Arts Project. There's an arts council here in Rockingham County, but we're more into public arts, and you should friend us. 2 hours later, she sends a message saying, sorry, we can't be friends. This isn't going to work out. Well, I felt like texting her at that moment. It's me, just click confirm. But I just had to let it go. Because I don't want anybody to know, even though we're doing a podcast and talking about it. What was the first topic we were talking about? Why are you building a terrarium?
I just want something to sit on my desk and just have something nice and green.
So this is for work?
No, this is actually for home. I don't care what's on my desk at work.
Okay, so you're building... So wait a minute. You want something green and something alive on your... It's a new thing. They're called potted plants.
But see, you have to water potted plants. Terrarium, you put water in it, you close the top, it's done. You
never have to water it.
It's like its own little world in there.
What are you making it out of?
Well, I looked for glass containers in my house. I'll have our mason jars, which are perfect.
That's kind of small, though.
I don't want it big. I just want something nice and handheld. Put a little bit of gravel on the bottom, put some potting soil, some moss.
You think that's going to work?
I don't see why not.
That's something I would say. I don't see why not. I don't see why dental floss wouldn't hold kayaks on a roof.
Well, I used to have a terrarium. Moving a few times, it kind of got smashed.
So when you had the first one, it self-sustained?
Yeah. That one was nice. My mom made it. So this was a long time ago, obviously.
I made it.
It had moss and ferns, and it looked really cool. And
how big was it?
Like 4 by 4. I mean, it was like a small little jar.
What happens if it grows too big for the thing? How tall is the thing?
And I'm not a botanist, but I'm going to go on record as saying I think it just grows to whatever size container it's in.
Really?
I don't know. I'm not a botanist.
You would get out of hand to me. So you're going to build this thing, or have you already built this thing?
I've not done it yet. I feel like I need to finish some of these other projects before I start one. Even though it's small, I got to knock out some of these other ones.
Maybe there has to be a certain amount of soil or whatever in the thing, and I don't...
Well, see, that's why I'll just do it. If it doesn't work out, I'll do it again. It is like a science
Because again, that's what you need.
Speaking of projects, an update on my many current projects. My sidewalk, in essence, is done.
You put the edging in that.
The edging's in.
The very expensive edging.
Not super expensive.
That's expensive.
You need it, though, if you don't
want it. You definitely need it.
And I hadn't planned to fill the joints with sand, because they fit pretty tight, but I have some sloping, so you kind of have some opening. So I bought some poly sand, which you wet it, and it hardens.
Polymerica thing is what it is?
Well, in the business, they call it poly sand.
Poly sand, right.
I wetted it. It hardened up. It looks good. Hopefully it'll keep out weeds and everything else.
So you're going to put pictures up?
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
I started a blog post in January when I started this project, and I've been taking pictures. So in the next few weeks, the blog post will go up, and we'll tell you
how to come over and check it out. Don't you feel really good after a project like that? Then you find excuses to go out there and walk on it. Baby, I got the trash. Stay there.
Let's just start going out the back door. I think it's broken.
It's kind of a pain to go in your back door. You got to go up like 20 steps. Then you're on this deck that's like 30 years old. Then there's usually some foaming at the mouth dog at the top of the steps.
I also built a picnic table this week.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about that. Did you do the thing with the glowing stuff in the top?
The resin, I wanted to, but Jennifer said it's a little too expensive for a picnic table to sit in the backyard.
Yeah, right.
We may sit on a few times a year.
Right. Believe it or not, you'll end up sitting on that a lot more often than you think. If I had a picnic table, we'd probably be on it once a week.
I did drill a hole through the top of the picnic table, so I put a flag in it. Not a flag.
A flag? An umbrella?
An umbrella.
Wow, I should have let you really search for that word a little bit more.
It would have taken me a while. It's an umbrella. So it should look pretty nice.
Yeah. You haven't stayed in the table yet, but you're going to stay in the table.
Before I do that, I need to sand it. Table is a kit through Lowe's. I just want to sand it, get it really nice and slick, router the edges, give it that finishing touch.
Take it completely over the edge. and add 10 hours onto it.
Not 10 hours. I'd say an hour.
Oh, routing it and sanding it? No, come on.
Over the edge would be cutting holes in it to add resin and glow-in-the-dark powder. This one stuck back a little bit. The only project I did not get to this week that I really was hoping I would, though I just ran out of time. I told you the Skyrim shields, the medieval shields I'm building.
Yeah.
I need to add a little bit more body flow to those. I was hoping to get that done this week, and it didn't happen. Next week.
Are you continuing to take pictures of that too as you go through it?
Oh. I take pictures of all my projects.
I normally see your blog. The only things I usually see are the movie. And then occasionally there'll be like, the lightsaber build and things like that. But I haven't seen anything up there in a while.
Well, see, I debate on whether I should break projects into parts and just do part 1 and show the beginning and part 2. And I kind of hate to do that. I like to show a finished project.
Yeah.
If somebody isn't familiar with my blog, they're going to come up and they're going to see an unfinished project. And they're like, oh man, he didn't even finish it. What an idiot. I know when I look at projects on people's pages, I don't have to click through 3 different pages and see something that, how's this end? Oh wait, they never finished. That's 5 years ago. I'll never know how to do it.
That does happen a lot on YouTube. You'll see like something, step 1, and then you'll get step 4, and then finally you'll go, where's step 5? This should be finished. You'll look, and it was posted 4 years ago, and you're like, oh, crap.
That poor guy that didn't look ahead to see if all the videos are there. He's on step 4. He's like, honey, we got a problem here.
That's me. That's me every time.
The only project I ever split on my blog into 3 parts was one I'd finished, and I split it up after I was done. Just
the kitchen floor.
Yeah, so we all went on at one time.
Right.
So hopefully all these things will go up very soon.
The second you get this house to a place where you're like, oh man, this is fantastic. Jennifer's going to be like, I got a job at UVA. And
we already know that. We know that for a fact. As soon as I'm done, we're going to start all over.
Once that deck gets done, it's over. It's time to move.
I actually had a paid project I did this week. Somebody asked me to design a business card.
Is this the same one that we talked?
We didn't talk about it on the podcast. We talked about it after.
Yeah, right.
I kind of negotiated price a little bit to get to do it. They wanted me, and then my price was too high, and by that time I already had an idea, and I really didn't want to do it. So I negotiated a little bit, and they actually ended up paying me the full price. They said it was so good, they were going to pay me my original price.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All for business card design. What kind of company was it for?
She's an author, and she's going to some kind of conference where she's going to be meeting, I guess, publishers and people like that. So she wanted something in a business card, and she kind of told me what she wanted, which she started, I don't know what I want, but this is the mood I want to evoke.
Yeah.
And I had an idea immediately.
Somebody at church starting a company, and he showed me the logo, and I was like, it's just not, something just doesn't look right there. Like, it didn't hit me, and there was nothing off the top of my head that I could think of to make it look better. And I was like, I'll let Ward take a look at it and just see what he says. Because he's had other people look at it, and he's told me the ideas, and they're just awful. So I just thought the 2 of us could look at it and be like, oh, yeah, it's simple. This looks like crap, and let's fix that.
Why is it fuchsia color? Why do you use
It's like a little orange arc, and then the company name underneath of it.
I've done a logo just like that already.
Did you really?
Yes. They're a bank. That was one of those things when I was starting out that I would do things for free, which I don't do anymore just because I don't have time. It was my brother, and he asked me to look at it.
Yeah.
He told me like some weird ideas he had. So I just said, I did a bank logo. They just don't know it. My brother actually came to us like, hey, sketch this idea. What do you guys think? And they loved it, and that's their logo.
Wow. No, this is too simplistic. Even the font, I don't even think I like. Oh, you know what? I'm talking to Ward. I'll see what he says. So, in the end, you think that your sidewalk looks great.
Oh, yeah.
What did Jennifer say?
She loves it.
Has anyone else seen it?
I had one of my neighbors tell Jennifer that they really liked it, but I doubt they saw it because they just were driving by.
Looks great!
I don't think they really catch the intricacies of the sidewalk when they're just driving by.
Do you think Jennifer would ever just be like, yeah, that's fine, even though she really thinks that it's not fun?
She would not. Like this business card idea I had, because I told her I'd do it in an hour, which I took a little bit more than that. I finished it. I didn't want to put any more time, so I was trying to stick to an hour. And I didn't think it was great, but I kind of sold it as, I'll just give you a business card, and that'll be our jumping off point. If you want to use me some more, we can fix it. Showed it to Jennifer. I said, hey, what do you think? It's not quite done, but it's enough where they can use it. She's like, well, what do you think? I was like, do you not like it? It doesn't look good.
That's Jennifer's way of saying it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And then I looked at it. I was like, yeah, that thing I didn't quite know what's wrong with it is that it doesn't look good. You're right.
Jennifer, you can trust to say that she's going to tell you, even in your videos, though, something that you're like super passionate about that you're not getting paid for, like the blog, your own personal videos. Do you think Jennifer would ever be like, that was awful?
She's always very nice about it. And she'll say,
right,
I didn't understand this, or this seems weird. And a lot of times I'm like, well, that's just the way it is. But so yeah, she has a great source of advice. One way I like to work on things, like this business card, if I had ultimate time, because the person was under a bit of a time crunch, when I finish something, I like to set it aside for about a week and then come back to it with fresh eyes. Because if I've been working on it for a few days, it's hard for me to pick out what's good, what's bad.
So I guess the question is, can you really trust people's opinions of your work? Not people that are paying you to do it, but people that you show something to and you're like, oh, what do you think of this?
That's a tough one because so many people don't understand what goes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like my videos, I'm pretty sure people see YouTube and think, oh yeah, you point a camera at it and you're done. The camera does it all for you, which nobody ever wants to pay me any money. To design a house, they're willing to pay me whatever, whenever. For a video, it's like,
we've seen your videos.
Pay you for video?
We've seen them. We don't want that guy who you normally have in them in this one. Well, I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying is, as somebody who does things, can you trust other people's opinions?
The first question is, can I trust myself on things? There's things I think are great. I go back later, and I wonder, why did I think this was good? I'm usually my harshest critic.
Oh, I think everybody is there. If you're really creative, yeah, you are your harshest critic.
If you're creative, yes. If you're not a creative person, I'm not sure you are your own harshest critic.
Well, that's what I mean.
But some things I come back to and I think are great. Some things I come back to and, man, that was rough. But I still hesitate to call myself an artist sometimes. Am I really an artist? I mean, yeah, I've been paid to do it. I've been paid to design them.
I don't think you need to be paid to be an artist.
Or to be a professional artist.
You know, when I think of artists, I think of guys who did artwork, you know, in their tiny little studios in New York in the 30s and 20s and 40s, and they never saw a dime until they died. I still consider them artists.
Sure, I'd say they're an artist. If they don't make money, you're technically what separates a professional from amateur is whether you get paid or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know, you think of those guys like Van Gogh. He never saw any money.
Then he was an amateur.
I think there might be some debate on that.
It's true.
A lot of these guys, they just died poor.
But generally, what separates a hobby from a profession is whether you get paid or not.
Right. Okay, I agree with you there. I don't think that would necessarily makes you an artist, though, either one. I mean,
No. I mean, I think there's an artist, and then whether you're amateur or professional. I mean, Van Gogh is kind of a weird category, but I believe he was an artist his entire life, so he had to make at least some money, whether he was wildly successful.
Right. He was
not a professional.
Right. I mean, technically, Hitler made money from his art.
Yeah, I always wonder, is what I'm doing any good? Like this business card. This person loved it.
Yeah. I think in that situation, if someone's paying you and they love it, it's good.
Honestly, it was good enough to where they paid me more than I asked for because they said it was that good.
But I think in situations where you're making videos, even if you're getting paid for those or not, I mean, you have yes people around you all the time that don't want to hurt your feelings or they don't care.
In addition to that, we've talked about people don't like good movies. Some people may tell you it's good because they just don't know what good actually is.
Right. Yeah, maybe. It's in the eye of the beholder. The thing that I want to get back to originally is, do you trust people when they say, oh yeah, that's good? No. Absolutely not.
I put weight in my opinion. I put weight in my wife's opinion.
Right.
That's about as far as it goes.
You wouldn't trust your mother?
No. What about you? I mean, when you...
I would tell you something is crap.
Oh, yeah. I trust you to do that. But, I mean, things you make and things you do, who do you trust around you to give you an honest opinion?
Really nobody, I don't think. Because I always think everything stinks. I will make something or create something or write something, and a week later I'm like, that's awful. No matter what anybody says, no matter what it's been turned into, sometimes I don't even want to see it again or hear it again. The photography, that's a whole other thing. You know, that doesn't really leave my house. Okay, I'll put some stuff on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but what's your validation there? People clicking like? People click like over anything.
I have to disagree. People never like anything I put up on Facebook.
Really? It's so funny. I just put something up there that was so obscure and I thought nobody would like it because it was basically just a picture of a front of a little rat rod that I saw at Food Lion. So I just put it up there because I liked it. Apparently, a lot of people like. I really didn't think anybody would click like on that. It was just for me. After I saw that, I thought people just clicking like because they're my friends and they click like on this. I mean, or do they see what I see in this picture? Chances are they just click like because they're like, oh, Eric's put up another picture. Isn't that cute? Look at that. It just keeps going, you know.
I feel like if you want to get likes on Facebook, selfie pictures and baby pictures seem to be the ticket.
Well, baby pictures aren't easy. I mean, that's just I don't care about getting the likes. I'm just shocked when people do like some of the things that I put up there. That's all.
I'm always shocked when people don't like anything I put up there because nobody ever likes anything.
Well, I mean, you put strange things up there. I mean, when I think of the stuff that you put on Facebook, I can't even think of what you put on Facebook. You'll just put like your home projects on Facebook. And really the only people that are really going to appreciate that are dudes. And dudes aren't surfing Facebook that much, I don't think. The only response you're going to get is like, what kind of subflooring did you put down on that floor? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of response you're going to get on there. Like,
I know my own personal Facebook page now is just a portal to like everything that my Woodworks and my Fridays on the Fly page put up. Back to our whole projects and whether they're good or not. I've worked on projects that I thought were terrible all the way up until I finished. And then, I set it aside and I come back and I'm like, well, maybe that wasn't too bad. I mean, I do a lot of different things, but writing, I do not consider myself a good writer.
Right.
Even though I've had people say, oh, that's pretty good. And I've gone back, things I've written a few years ago, I'm like, wow, I wrote that? I don't think I could recreate something that good now.
Really? Why don't you put some of that out there?
That's one of the things I'm the least confident in. I've done some online story contests. I've never won, but I've got like third and honorable mention and things. Right. I'm not sure if that's good.
I think the things that you write, and I've not seen them, are, like you said, they're fiction. Stuff that I write isn't fiction. It like comes from inside, so I don't like judging that or...
Yeah, you're opening that door, right?
Even really knowing that it's even me that it's written anything. I've written stuff and sent it to friends and not put my name on it, just to see if they would use it in like one of their projects or something like that, and just not knowing, just because I don't want people to know it's me, because it's like deeply personal. I don't know that I could ever write a fiction story, because I think too much of your own life would be in there. Did you see that when you went back and read it? You were like, oh my gosh.
When you said that everything you write is personal.
Right.
I was thinking that I write mostly fiction, and sure, it's partly autobiographical. I mean, the only thing I know is my life and what I've experienced.
Right.
So that's in my writing, whether sometimes it may be more apparent than others.
But is it an emotional thing, or are these things that you're putting in your writing where you're just going, just stuff that you've learned things, or things That's different from putting your emotions down, or something that could potentially, just when you read it, could hurt you again, or not even just hurt you, but just bring up that same emotion again.
Yeah, I'd say the reason I don't post my writings, which I'm probably going to start doing more of that, and this podcast might actually be an outlet to do some spoken word fiction I've written. But mainly it's just I don't want people to be like, gosh, he's a terrible writer. Did he not get through second grade writing? What's wrong with him?
Did he just start that sentence with "and"?
This is nonsensical. What is he writing?
I can't imagine writing a novel. The most I'm going to write is maybe a page or two. That's the extreme most.
I started writing short stories like 5 years ago. And I had no idea what I was doing. And the only reason I continued is the first story I posted in this contest I do every now and then. Somebody put, oh, that was really cool. Wow. I didn't expect to get that response. I thought it was like, get yourself out of this contest. You do not belong here. There are real writers here. And someone said, hey, it's cool. I was like, okay, I'm going to write another and see. And for that year, I think I probably wrote a short story every other week. I capped that year off by writing a novel. There's a contest every year, the National Novel Writing Month in November, where they challenge you to write a novel, 50,000 words. All right, I'm going to do it. So to do that, roughly 2,000 words a day. I had this book in mind I was going to write. It's going to be zombie survival, which at the time was not as cliche as it is today. It was
I still think that could be good, given the fact that every zombie thing that comes out is complete nonsense. I like The Walking Dead. It just doesn't make any sense. We're like 5 years in and they're still driving cars. Come on.
Gas doesn't go bad.
Right, gas. I want to read and see something real. Nobody really knows that.
I'll circle back to that. This novel, I did it, 50,000 words. And you need to write 2,000 words a day. I got 12,000 words in. My book was done.
What happens if you don't write the 50,000 words?
I mean, it's not like it's a real contest. It's just a personal contest. So if you don't get 50,000, you don't win the contest.
Oh, so there's no like cash prize for this or anything. Oh,
it's personal growth. So I got 12,000 words. I've been writing a week and I'm done. I've got 3 more weeks to write. Where I'd ended it, I just wrote another sentence. And some days I just wrote sentence after sentence and I thought, this is absolute crap. Some days I wrote and I was like, hey, this isn't too bad. I mean, I'd say writing it, the full breadth of emotions. You were up, you were down, you were happy, everything. And I got to 50,000 words. I think I wrote like 50,007 words.
I'm done.
I knew the hard part is it's November, so it's right around Thanksgiving. So I was with family. I had the laptop out. I was writing as they're eating. But I did it, and it's kind of like running a marathon. You wouldn't think you'd ever do it, but you do it, and it's amazing.
I would have the hardest time starting, I think.
Some days you write. I made up some ridiculous things in the story just to give them something to do, something to write. My goal was 2,000 a day, and I did it. And some days it was just painful. That was the goal. That's what I did.
I envision a lot of days of staring at a screen and it staring back at me. Nothing happening.
It's tough. I didn't do that challenge the next year or the year after. And finally, I think it'd been 3 years. I was like, you know what? I got to do it again. So I think that was 2 years ago. I wrote another novel, and I kind of had an outline. Because the first one, I didn't outline. I just went. So this one, I outlined a little bit. It worked a little bit better. I've never gone back and read either of these novels. If I read them, they may be bad. But if I don't, I'll never know. So maybe they're good. My goal was 3,000 words a day because I wanted to finish before Thanksgiving. So I wrote a 50,000 novel in 3 weeks.
What was it about? You don't even want to say. You're afraid I'll judge you.
Well, you will, but I'm trying to remember. When I first did it, I had like a really succinct summary.
Was this past year that you did that?
It was 2013, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I remember you texting me something about it. You asked me a question because you were writing.
Yes, I did.
And I can't remember what you were writing about. I remember the question had to do with guns.
Yeah. What the story's about, this guy hears something outside his house, and he's not sure what's going on. He has a gun, he has, concealed carries, and he shoots the guy. So it's kind of the aftermath of what happens with that, emotional and physical and everything. So that was the story. I'd like to think it's good, but I know there's some chapters in there that are probably terrible. I think my pacing is probably terrible.
It's 50,000. Can't imagine. I don't know what the word count is on a typical novel. Like a Dan Brown. What's the word count on that?
He's probably a little heavier. A typical novel is like 50 to 75,000 words. You asked about a book or a work of fiction that treats like the zombie apocalypse well. I would group that into more apocalypse period. I would say Cormac McCarthy, he's an author. Amazing. I mean, his prose, I went back to back. I read a Cormac McCarthy book and then a Dan Brown book. I feel like the Dan Brown book was written by a second grader. And not that his prose is bad. Cormac McCarthy has a way with words. He's a wonderful author. And I bring him up because he wrote this book called The Road. It was made into a movie a few years ago. Okay. Post-apocalypse, it's about a father and son surviving the world after an apocalypse. I read it before as a father. Obviously now it'd be quite a bit different, more emotional. Amazing book. And the movie was just okay. And I've read quite a few Cormac McCarthy books. If you like to read, you have to read this guy's books.
I like books like that. I like Dan Brown a lot. Some of his writing just drives me insane, and some of his phrases drive me insane. I still continue to read. Yeah, I like the stories. I like Catholic things. I don't know why.
Dan Brown's stories are wonderful. His stories are great. His writing leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh, I completely agree. I like the way he tells the story, though. I love the jumping.
How much of Dan Brown have you read?
All of them.
I've read Angels and Demons.
Angels and Demons.
Da Vinci Code. Mm-hmm. And The King Symbol. Is that, or The New Symbol?
You're going to drive me crazy now that you just said that.
The Lost Symbol.
The Lost Symbol, yeah. And then he had one other after that. Inferno was the name of the last book. But it wasn't his best.
What's that about?
Catholics.
Like those Catholics.
I love the Catholic books.
Well, you had two books before, Angels and Demons. I can't remember what they were about. Did you read those two?
No. Just started at the Da Vinci Code.
So you didn't read Angels and Demons?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Da Vinci Code
that was
first.
Before. No, Angels and Demons was his
first.
No,
Angels and Demons was second.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. Either way.
Look it up.
Yeah, Angels and Demons 2000, Da Vinci Code 2003.
I really liked The Lost Symbol and just the Masons and all that stuff in D.C. and the conspiracy. That stuff was cool.
That was his weakest book, I think.
I just really liked all that conspiracy stuff. They talked about that painting of George Washington, the apotheosis. I Googled that, like, really? Let me check that out.
I did so many. When I read that book, I went through it and Googled a bunch of things in there. I was like, no, that can't be there. Turns out it's there.
I know. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
That whole thing about the Washington Monument and the capstone and the Mason.
Yeah.
Man.
Have you seen those movies?
Yeah. I almost hate to admit it.
Me too. Gosh, I like Tom Hanks a lot, but come on.
I guess the cliche choice would have been Harrison Ford, but he would have been such a lock for me.
Right, and that's my exact thing was the Harrison Ford. Yeah, he would have been.
Tom Hanks' hair. I mean, what were they thinking with the hair?
I don't know. Why is it jet black and
slicked back? He's like a car salesman.
Yeah, that's not what I pictured. I pictured the Harrison Ford that you see in the university. Mm-hmm. When he's teaching the class with the glasses and the tweed coat with the patches on the elbows.
Dan Brown pictured Harrison Ford in that scenario.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Angels and Demons or Da Vinci Code where he's Italy going to all the temples? I think that was Da Vinci Code, wasn't it?
That was Angels and Demons.
Oh, I want to visit Italy anyway, but that one just made the cathedral so visceral.
And honestly, it was movies that made me want to visit Italy, and that is why I visited Italy.
When did you go to Italy?
2001.
Okay.
Spent 3 weeks there.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was because of, bring it right back to Harrison Ford, it was because of Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. The second I saw that movie, I knew that I wanted to go to two places, Venice and Syria, to Petra. That really solidified my list of travel places as a kid. So as a kid, I had started a list, probably when I was like 12 years old. And this all came from movies of places I wanted to go. I wrote a list. It was in my desk. I didn't write what movies they came from, but when I watched the movie, I would write that I want to go there. That Indiana Jones, that Last Crusade, that was it. I knew that I would love travel from that point. And that brings up a question. I'm starting to travel now over the summers with my kids. Last summer, we went up to Canada, up through New England and Maine and New Hampshire, Vermont, whatever. The year before that, we did Florida, went down through the Keys, ended up doing Disney. And so this is becoming like a yearly thing now.
So I know you said you made a list of where you want to travel when you're a kid. Now you're traveling with your kids. Did you travel as a kid?
That is exactly what I was just going to bring up. People keep coming up to me and saying, oh, it's so great that you're traveling with your kids. You're going to instill a love of travel in them. And I was really proud of myself. Yeah, what I am. They're going to love it. They're going to travel all over the world. And then I thought, wait a minute. I never really traveled anywhere as a kid. My parents never went on vacation. We barely left the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York area. I think that's as far as we've ever gone. We moved a bunch of times. I wouldn't count moving as travel. Well, let me ask you, what was your childhood travel situation like?
We didn't travel very much. We went to the beach every year up until my brother and I got jobs. And
Myrtle?
Yeah.
That's where everybody here goes to go to Myrtle Beach.
I think right up at the end we went to maybe Emerald Isle. My parents didn't like crowded beaches. Right. Myrtle Beach got very crowded towards the end. I don't think we really did anything out of the ordinary, very extreme, other than go to the beach every year. So
do you have any desire to travel now? Other than you just said you'd love to go to Italy, but is it really in you? Do you want to go see the United States? Do you have a list? In your head, I've got to see these places before I die.
Before I address that directly, you asked the question of, can you instill in your kids the desire to travel by going with them? Right. I think it's kind of a nature versus nurture thing. I think that either you want to travel or you don't. I don't think going someplace is going to change that. You didn't go anywhere, right, and you like to travel. I like the idea of traveling. I don't that much. I don't know if it's a cost prohibitive thing. I always have so many projects that a lot of times when I take vacation off from work, I stay home to work on my projects. I don't have time to go somewhere. With that said, I begin to appreciate travel a lot more now. I don't just want to go somewhere and go to the touristy places.
Right.
I want to really visit it and really check it out. I know my wife and I went to the Bahamas a number of years ago. And we were with some friends, and they wanted to go to all the touristy places.
Right.
When they went out to eat, they wanted to go to the American chain places. My wife and I, we went around the corner to the kind of slummy areas and ate in the hole in the wall. So I want to see, what's this place really like? I don't want to go to McDonald's. I know what that's like.
I want some conch fritters. Some conch fritter soup.
I don't travel, so I guess if you look at the facts, I guess it's not really in me. I want to travel. I like to travel. And I just have a lot of barriers, really, I've put there myself not to. But I'd like to think that, one day I will travel.
See, I get the distinct impression that maybe one of my kids might grow up and be like, oh, I want to see everything. And then the other two are like, do you remember when we used to, poor sack of crap would travel, take us all over the United States? I hated it. I never want to leave North Carolina again. I don't know if it's something that's hardwired in you or something that I can instill in them, or if it's something that they're going to change in their life. I have no idea. I guess I don't care. I just don't want them to be so narrow of mind that they don't know anything outside of wherever they're going to live. You don't see how other people live. I think it's hard to empathize. You're so quick to be like, screw them. Anything I can't explain it very well.
I think you're right on point. Very few cons, a lot of pros to traveling, whether they like it or not. Would I be a better person or be more well-rounded if I traveled more as a kid? Sure. You experience a lot of things. I'm not sure how much you can really appreciate when you're young. When I went to school, I was forced to learn all this stuff. I realize now that my 10th grade English class or literature class, we read some amazing books in there. Did I think they were amazing then? No. Would I love to go and take that class now? I would love it. I love to learn now.
Right.
But that didn't happen until I was well out of school.
Oh, of course. That's everybody.
Traveling goes along the same way. When you're a kid and your parents are taking you, you may not really appreciate it. Again, it's going to make you more well-rounded. It's going to introduce you to a lot of things you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I think they enjoy it. People saying that you're doing them such a favor made me really question that. Am I doing them a favor, or does it really even matter?
Are you doing them a favor? Sure. Are you going to make them like travel? Remains to be seen.
Yeah. Well, I hope they like travel.
Kind of along the same lines. When I growing up, my family never really did anything cultural as far as going to see a play or a musical or anything.
Right.
My wife and I, it's harder now because our son's young. Before him, we went to plays and theater and musicals and ballet and comedy shows.
True.
And, I want to take my son to that. I want to make my son well-rounded. Whether he likes it or not, you're going to get to try it. And, so I kind of regret that I didn't get that opportunity. Not that it's necessarily within my reach or within my grasp to do that. You should let kids experience everything, and maybe they like it, maybe they don't. Maybe it'll be much later until they realize they do.
Yeah, but we didn't do the museums or anything like that either. The most culture we got was when my mom put on PBS. That was like the most look, it's the Three Tenors. That was the most culture we were ever exposed to. But food, gosh, man, we ate all kinds of food. My dad, he would stop anywhere. We could be in the middle of a ghetto and be the only white people there. And he's like, look, it's a chicken place. Let's go in. We're like, what? You open the car and there's like a fight on the burner, and he's like, "That's great, right?" We're walking in and he's just eating away. So no, we got plenty of that culture.
And so, you have a story because of that. In college, I went to New York. It was with a class, and I didn't have much time there. But, I've got some stories because I went to New York. Somebody tried to sell me drugs. And...
That had to be so strange for you to go to a place like New York coming from here. That had to be so strange.
I knew that the downside is for a class, they gave us 4 hours in New York. That was it. So I knew, all right, I can't go in any place. And a lot of people are taking the subway or taxi. How am I going to do that? I want to see New York. I walked all day and all night. So the reason somebody tried to sell me drugs because I was like in a park, at midnight. Just chilling.
Just hanging out?
Yeah.
Because like, that's what people do.
Yo, man, you need some weed? Nah, I'm good. Yo, I got that good stuff. Like, I'll keep you in mind. Do you have a number? Can I call you later?
You got a web address?
I get back to my room, and there's like 3 or 4 guys there, and they're watching TV. I'm like, where have you been? I was like, I've been looking at New York. What have you been doing? Oh, we've been watching TV? Like, you can watch TV at home.
See, so you do have that passion to see things.
I do in a way, but again, I don't push my wife to, hey, let's travel. Probably just because I'm cheap, and I'm like, can't you do that on the internet?
Well, that's why we camp. That's why everywhere we go camping. If they had camping in New York City, we'd be camping there. But those are called bums.
I like to think I have the passion to travel. I don't do it much. But when I do get somewhere, I really want to see that place. I don't just want to sit in my room and watch TV. I want to experience the place. I mean, New York. I know I went to Chinatown. Again, this was late at night. It was cool in a way because I've never been in a situation where I'm a minority, or very rarely has that happened. So I'm the only white person in Chinatown, and they're just staring at me, and I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
There's, yeah, I mean, it's a little different. When was this?
2004 or so.
Oh, it shouldn't have been that bad.
I got to see the Ghostbuster Firehouse, which I rank as high on my list of things I've seen.
It's so weird. If we went through a list of things we want to see in New York, I can imagine that what our list would look like. Things I want to see in New York City. Oh, yeah. I'm very curious to know if you actually looked at a list of things and you're like, okay, yeah, I want to see that.
I did a lot of like the touristy places people see, the Empire State Building and all that. I went to where the Twin Towers used to be, the memorial. So many people are like, well, Ward, what'd you go see? Oh, I got to see the Ghostbusters Firehouse. That's New York? I was like, yeah, it's down there. I was like, man, we didn't see that. I didn't even know. I was like, should have stuck with me.
And the Seinfeld Cafe. I got to see that too. The coffee house.
I can't remember. I know I wanted to go by there. I can't remember. Pretty much any touristy place that was within like Manhattan, I walked there at some point that day.
I took the kids there last year. We went and saw the Statue of Liberty, went to Ellis Island, and then walked around downtown. And probably about halfway through the day, they said, why would anybody want to live here? I just felt my heart drop. I was like, really? I love it here. What are you kidding? So, we went and got pizza and saw World Tower 1 or something like that. Now the new tower that's there in place. And we went and saw that and just so many things. But they were like, it's so loud. They have never known anything other than North Carolina. It's just so strange.
I was in architecture class at the time, so I appreciated the streets, the order. They were all very square. I was like, so perfect. And you're so a smart person actually laid these streets out. And these awesome buildings. I loved it. I wish I could have been there longer to actually see more of it. It's such a short trip. I couldn't see anything.
So that was the only time you've ever been in New York?
Yeah, that was the only time in New York.
No, that's somewhere my dad would take us like once a month. Of course, he never took us to see like the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building or like Grand Central Station. He would take us to the Bronx. And this was like the late 80s, 90s, Times Square. This is what he loves. He's like, this is great. Let's go ride the subway. This was not a time in New York history that you wanted to be riding the subway or getting out of your car. We waited in line at the Hard Rock Cafe, watched a bum beat up another bum for a sandwich. I'm like 8 years old. The bum sees me. And he's walking past us, and he locks eyes with me. All of a sudden, he goes, boom! I freak out. My dad is dying laughing. And all of a sudden, the guy's like, yeah, I had sex with Tina Turner last night. This is literally 30 seconds to a minute after he just got done beating up another bum for a sandwich as we wait in line at the Hard Rock Cafe. Tell me there's not something wrong with society then. We're waiting to go buy $10 hamburgers. You just beat someone up for a half-eaten sandwich you pulled out of a trash can. Gosh, I love New York.
That's one thing. I got to see bums sleep on the street, which was obviously weird for me. I didn't see anything like that.
Oh, this was 2004.
Yeah.
This was about the time of the cleanup.
And I got to be on the subway. I got to see a man wearing a garbage bag have an argument with himself.
That's gone. Giuliani either had those people killed or sent them to Mexico as trade for all the Mexicans we get. I don't know, but they're gone. We would visit in the 80s and 90s. Thousands, tens of thousands of homeless. Because we grew up in a city, so, we had bums in our city. But you'd see them in the park, sleeping in the subway, sleeping on the street. You could not turn without seeing a homeless person. Now they're gone. I really have no idea what they did with them, but once Giuliani got in there, those people started disappearing. That was culture shock for my kids. They were like, why is this person laying on the street? I had to explain to them, this guy's homeless.
Yeah, it's culture shock for me.
Yeah.
I knew what homeless people were, but I'd never seen them sleeping on the streets.
That's weird to me. When I moved down here and talked to people, and they're like, no, I've never left North Carolina. This is as far as so they've never experienced New York or any city for that matter.
But that's another thing, that if I'd done a tourist path in New York, I wouldn't have seen some of that stuff.
Definitely.
Nobody would offer me drugs if I stayed on the short, straight and narrow.
I wonder where you were when that happened.
It's one of the parks towards the south of Central Park. Is Lincoln Park?
Bryant Park, maybe. It's probably Bryant Park.
So where else have you been? Have you been to a lot of places?
I've been to most every state, continental United States. Canada, off the eastern part of Canada, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Bahamas, Bermuda. I haven't been to Puerto Rico. I've always wanted to go to Puerto Rico, but I haven't been there. Belize, Honduras, Central America. Never anywhere in South America, I think because it just scares me. White people can get kidnapped and think I'm rich or something, which I'm not, and so they'll not be getting any ransom money from me. So I'll just be dead. But I guess that's what worries me about Mexico too. But I've been to Mexico, but I'm too afraid to go to the parts of Mexico that I want to go to. Even though they are kind of touristy, I am worried that I won't come back.
That stuff does happen.
But I was just there last year and went and saw some really old ruins, and I'm the same as you. I don't want to do touristy things. Not only do I not want to do touristy things, I don't want to take any way that a tourist would get down there. So I got down there last year. There's some old ruins on the coast south of Playa del Carmen. It's what would be considered the oldest lighthouse in history. And you look around my kitchen, I like lighthouses. Their lighthouse kind of worked in a different way where you'd put one fire behind another fire. And once you line those two fires up out in the water, you could come in safely and not hit any of the reefs. Once I got to Playa del Carmen, and I was like, you know what? It's like a bus that the locals take. Took a cab back. That's the Mexico I want to experience. That's everywhere that I want to experience. And I found myself in some rough situations. I apparently walked a block too far where I shouldn't have gone, and they let me quickly know and was politely asked to leave. I've been there. A lot of Europe, England, Italy, Germany.
So when you went to these places, where specifically did you go, and how did you decide to go to that specific place?
I wanted to see castles in Germany, all along the Rhine. I feel like I'm Italian. Even though I am the farthest thing from Italian, I feel like I'm secretly Italian, and that is where I belong.
You just really like pizza.
Which is nothing like our pizza, by the way. So if you go over there, you order pizza, it's not going to look anything like what you just get at Little Caesars.
Domino's, they're not Italian? They don't make it?
There's barely any cheese on it, and there's a lot of sauce on it.
So it's like Chicago pizza, right?
Yeah.
Chicago's
deep dish, Italy, right? Yeah, it's just like it. No, it's nothing like it. I wanted to see Venice. I just wanted to experience being in a city with no cars. It was the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life, and I would go back there in a minute. I would move there. If I won the lottery tomorrow, we'd live there next week. It inspires you. Must have taken 1,000 pictures. And the people were fantastic. Nobody was rude. Food was great. You get the wine that they made. You want a Coke? It's $8. You can get water or you can get wine. There's no McDonald's. There's none of that there. I can't think of one chain.
Applebee's.
Nothing. Same thing. You go to Rome. Beautiful. I'm secretly Italian. Went to Naples, Rome, Venice, Milan. Saw Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii. One of the things I wanted to see was Da Vinci's Last Supper.
Yeah.
Didn't get to see it.
Why not?
Thought I could just show up. Well, apparently you have to get tickets months in advance.
Kind of a big deal over there.
Apparently. I took the tour of the Vatican.
So when you travel these places, are you usually solo? Do you have a group?
So I found over the years that it's really just better if I go by myself because I can take my time. What would you prefer to do?
Yeah, I kind of like going with my wife to places, checking things out. We have different tastes, but there's someone else where we're kind of overlapped. And we both want to go off the beaten path, experience a place, not just travel through it.
But I guess it's just all a crapshoot. You're hardwired or you're not. The way that I got into travel is movies. I think everything we talk about pretty much goes back to movies.
What your parents did, what you did. I really definitely want to travel with my son more than my parents traveled with me. So definitely want to take him out and about, let him see things. I mean, yeah, I had a great childhood, but again, we really didn't go that far out of the box.
I wonder if it was because your parents, that's what they knew.
I think it's just one of those things, going outside of what they knew, they just didn't like that.
We grew up in two different places, but I think our childhoods were kind of similar.
Seems like it.
It's movies and TV that made me want to travel, which leads me to my next question. What movies did you watch this week?
I followed up with, if movies want to make me travel somewhere, I'd love to travel to some of these fictional places and movies.
I can't imagine which ones.
Let's talk about a movie I watched this week, Mad Max Fury Road.
No.
I mean, I'd die if I went there, but I'd love to check it out.
You went to the movie theater and saw this.
Oh, yeah.
Who did you go with?
I went by myself.
Why did you call me?
Because you were so...
Anti-Mad Max?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want me to affect your opinion?
Well, no, but you were so anti-Mad Max, I figured you'd just shoot me down. Because you were very strongly against Mad Max.
For one, I am very strongly against Mad Max.
Because I thought about calling him, but man, he was really down on that.
The only thing that would make me want to go see that movie is Charlize Theron. You could shave her head. She looks good and everything. So, yeah, no, I would have gone.
You really dug her in Monster?
Other than Monster.
I hadn't planned to go see Mad Max, but I've heard some reviews and I've seen people talking about it. Very high praise. I was like, all right, I got to see this just to see if they're feeding me a load of crap or not. You know, some people were saying, oh, this movie is the Matrix of this generation. That's pretty steep.
I haven't heard The Matrix. I have seen reviews of it from people that I trust. They said it was amazing.
I loved the movie. It was 2-hour runtime. It flew by in the best possible way. The action was great. The writing's good. Movies are very expository. They want to tell you every little detail. And this one doesn't do that. It kind of tells the story through action. It doesn't really hit you on the head with what's going on.
Spoilers if you're listening and you're already this far in, but where does this Mad Max pick up? Are they redoing the first Mad Max?
The director referenced that this was similar to Mad Max 2.
Yes.
Kind of the...
Well, yeah, just watching the previews, it looks like Ralph Fiennes was kind of like that helicopter pilot. It was Ralph Fiennes in that movie, right?
Mad Max is Tom Hardy. This is, in essence, a non-stop chase through the wasteland. It really is Furiosa's story. Mad Max just happens to stumble along. Not very many movies do they end, and I want to watch them immediately again, but this was one of them.
That's high praise.
I'd easily rank this as one of the top movies I've seen in the past couple of years.
So it had good story. Was it complete action all the way through?
The majority of it was.
And I don't even think you're an action movie fan.
This one is, I'd say, the quintessential action movie.
I've got to have story. When you think of that Mad Max, the second one, I really think that had good story. I was shocked by the end of it. I was like, is that sand? Spoilers if you haven't seen Mad Max 2.
It's been 30 years. If you haven't seen it yet, you may not be watching it.
you may want to pick it up.
And this one didn't have that gotcha moment at the end that kind of turned it around. I felt it avoided a lot of the cliches and pitfalls typical action movies have. Oh, let's do something completely out of character, completely ridiculous, so we can do something cool in the story. I thought all of it made sense. I mean, if there's one thing I'd say that doesn't really make sense, is I love the vehicles in this movie. But if you're in a wasteland, I really don't think you'd have like a double-decker 59 Cadillac car that's a monster truck. The original Mad Max cars were really something you thought they scrapped together in the desert. I love them. They look great, but it stretches reality. And you argue a lot of movies that their budget was too big. If they had a smaller budget to try and be more creative, it would have been a better movie. After watching Mad Max 2 right after this is one where a bigger budget really helped.
So, which one did you like better?
Oh, Fury Road, no doubt.
Really?
I mean, I like Mad Max 2. I thought it was good. And maybe it's just because I've just seen Fury Road. It just seemed kind of small in comparison. Like, you could tell the budget was smaller. This is what the guy wanted to make back in 82.
Right.
And he just didn't have the budget, so he made Mad Max 2. I also watched Outland from 1981.
Outland?
Sean Connery.
Don't think I've seen that since 1983.
It was cool. You know, it's in essence a Western set in space. Aside from the fact that they have shotguns, they're just blasting around a space station and that doesn't cause any ill effects, and that decompression equals your head exploding like a blood sausage, no big deal. I thought it was a pretty neat movie. I mean, I love how they did space as grimy and gritty. And this came on the heels of Alien, which again did space grimy. But so many movies paint space as this utopia. Space doesn't look that fun. I don't really want to go to space.
I think in the 80s, that's the way movies looked in general. They kind of had a grimy kind of feel to them. I think it was just a way that everything
Well, they weren't trying to make
then.
space pristine and sterile in this one.
Right, no, I know. Outland was high noon.
It was. Good solid space movie that's, pretty hard sci-fi. I also watched Spare Parts. And that is a newer movie. It's about a immigrant robotics high school team. They create a robot and they compete with colleges. It's based on a true story. I liked it, but it felt a little too Disney. You know, one of these, everything wraps up in the end with a bow, and this guy and that girl, and they get together, and it's so cute. And I thought that kind of hampered this. I don't really care about that. I mean, I thought the essence of the story, these high school kids that know nothing, they built this robot on an $800 budget. They won the competition against colleges that spent $18,000.
Right.
So it's a nice feel-good story. But I just thought they tried to be too cute and try to wrap everything up.
Well, I mean, who made the movie?
I also watched Draft today with Kevin Costner. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but
It's a Kevin Costner movie, so no, I would definitely not say it was a great movie.
it's about the NFL draft. And, you know, a movie that makes the NFL draft halfway watchable, I have to give it a bit of kudos. It's almost kind of like a heist movie in a way, because Kevin Costner, he's Cleveland Browns general manager. He is the 7th pick in the draft. And so he wheels and deals. So that whole movie where everybody's doubting him. And
Something about Kevin Costner in sports movies.
that's his bread and butter, sports movies.
Yeah, that's why he should stop. You know, The Postman didn't work out.
I like The Postman.
Waterworld didn't work out.
I don't like Waterworld.
Kevin Costner, though, it's just another one of those actors where there's probably not 3 movies of his that I can name that I enjoy.
That wraps up the news for this week. I did watch Mad Max 2, but that's going to be in my next week's review.
Yeah. That brings me to the top 3. Top 3 cities you want to see.
I will say Cooperstown, New York. I always wanted to visit the Baseball Hall of Fame. I really liked baseball when I was a kid.
I didn't even know you liked baseball.
Once I got 16, I started getting into cars. Baseball
Right.
kind of fell by the wayside. Also, about when I was 16, I started trying to play JV ball, and I realized I was terrible. So those two things combined.
We lived in Florida. All the pro teams play in Florida.
Oh,
I've got like Deion Sanders' autograph, and before he was really anybody. I didn't get it autographed on a ball. I got it autographed on the old style printer paper with the holes all down the side of it. I had a big ream of that, so I'd take that with me to the baseball field, and I'd hand them the ream, and they would sign it.
Were there a lot of kids with reams of paper getting autographs?
No, but I will tell you this story. I was watching Sandlot 2, which I can tell you,
That can be good.
don't ever watch it. But Steve Garvey is in it.
Padres, right?
First baseman, free glove day at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia's already kind of a hostile place to go. We're the people that threw snowballs at Santa Claus. So, we get these free plastic chintzy kids gloves. We play ball, So we get real close up to first base. Steve Garvey's out there, they're warming up. And my brother's, Steve, sign the glove for me. He's completely ignoring him. He's into the practice. Finally, my brother throws the souvenir glove at Steve Garvey. It lands 2 feet in front of him out onto the field. Steve Garvey he looks over at my brother first, gives him this dirtiest look ever. Picks the glove up off the ground, walks over, and signs the gloves for us. The look on his face was like, typical Philly kids, So, all right, Cooperstown, it's your first city.
Italy, a city in Italy. Yeah, Rome's a good one.
Because you have Vatican, Colosseum.
Hong Kong, because so many movies like the 60s and 70s use Hong Kong as this futuristic city. So it'd be cool to see Hong Kong. I think we'll say Cooperstown, New York, Rome, Italy, Hong Kong, Japan.
Tokyo for me. Sydney, I'd love to go there.
Yeah.
I've never been to Australia.
Kill a dingo.
Kill a dingo. I'm pretty sure that's the one that ate your baby. I'd go with New York. I've been there hundreds of times. I would pick New York again, having been there 100 times. There's still stuff that I want to see that I haven't seen. New York, Tokyo, and Sydney. Wait, neither one of us mentioned Hollywood, even though we both love movies. Never even crossed my mind to make it out to LA. I think that wraps it up.
That does wrap it up.
Thanks for listening to Fridays on the Fly. I'm Eric. You Google this Fridays on the Fly and you'll find us all over the place. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
And I'm Ward. Our website is fridaysonthefly.blogspot.com. You can see links to all our social media websites. You can contact us. You can email us. However you want to find us, go to that website, fridaysonthefly.blogspot.com. Thank you for listening. We definitely want to hear from you.